Alright, welcome back everyone. I'm teacher Nathan from Raffles at Work. In this morning, we'll take a look at Rosyth Primary School Weighted Assessment 2 from 2023. Let's take a look at some grammar questions first. So question 1 over here. The cautious security guard always alerts the mall manager when anyone suspicious is loitering outside the shop. Over here, we're interested in tenses. The first thing we observe is always alerts. Alerts here, this word. This is in present tense. Okay, and we observe that this alert, this act of alerting can only occur when the suspicious person is doing this verb. So this is action number 1. Alerting is action number 2. Alright, and action number 1 has to be in the process of being completed before the security guard can detect something that is not so right. So looking at the options, C here is present tense and plural. Saw is in past tense. Seen, this is in the participle form. And seeing, which is in the continuous form. Hello, Pui O Niao. Okay, for this case here, we're interested in an action I would say, is in the process of being completed. As such, the answer that we will use here is number 3. Okay, moving on, let's take a look at question 2. Ben's teacher reminded him to refrain giving comments till the end of the presentation. So over here, we are interested in prepositions. Now, we'll see that the teacher reminded Ben not to do something, which is refrain. And it is further elaborated here, the comment. So Ben should not be giving his opinions on certain things. So looking at the options here, 2 shows a destination. I am going to the mall. It's a particular place I want to go to, I want to end up at. By shows a source or a method. The chicken rice was bought by mother. It's a particular person who did something. I am going to school by bus. Bus here is your transport mode. With here is used to show something that is complementary. I'm going to the clinic with mother. So someone is following me. Lastly, from here shows the origin of something. Okay, and for this question here, we are looking at option number 4, from. Because the source of the comments is from Ben. Yep, very good, Pui O Niao. The answer is correct. Okay, let's move on to question 3. She rarely goes to the park to cycle, So over here, we are interested in a question tag question. The first thing we observe is the word goes. because this is in the present tense. As such, we will eliminate the options that are not in the present tense. So option 1 and 3 are not considered. Now we are left with two options, 2 and 4. Now you can see the word rarely is also another keyword because this means she does not go. So this means that this is in the negative connotation, and I need the positive connotation at the back, which will be does she. So here the answer will be number 2. Okay, let's go on further to question 4 now. My sister has the habit of helping mother dash the dishes after every meal. For question 4 here, we're interested in tenses. First thing we observe is helping, which is in the continuous form. And we observe this is verb number 1, and I have a second verb at the back here. So as such, that means we need to apply what we call the verbs of perception rule, where there are two verbs. The second verb here needs to be in the base form. As such, our answer will be number 1, wash. Okay, for base form here, this means that we are looking at present tense and plural. Now, if we look at the other options for our learning, washes here is in present tense and singular. Washed is in past tense, and washing is in continuous form. Continuous form means that my action is ongoing as I speak. Okay, let's go on to question 5. Mrs. Sim, as well as her children, dash at the senior citizens' home every weekend. So for this question here, we're interested in tenses. Two keyword, Mrs. Sim, every weekend. Mrs. Sim here is singular subject. Hello, pei ba he. Yeah, hello. Yeah, every weekend here it shows a habit, and therefore we use present tense. Okay, so because we are interested in present tense and singular, the only option that we have is number 2, volunteers. Take note, as well as her children here, this is extra information. And therefore, we will not consider this when we choose the answer. Let's take a look at the other options to learn. Volunteers, present tense, singular. Volunteered, this is past tense. Are volunteering here, this is in present continuous tense. Which means that my action is ongoing as I speak. Hello, not Shirley. Okay, I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information here before we move on to our next 5 questions of grammar. Okay, if there are no further questions, let's move on to our next 5 questions of grammar. Sorry, this is vocab now. Question 6. Is it alright with you if I dash for a cup of coffee this evening? Aunt Maria asked mother. So over here we are interested in your phrasal verbs. The first thing we observe is the person wants to meet up with mother for coffee. Hello, can we answer the question? Oh yes, you can answer for our friend Pei Ba He. Yeah, you can answer the questions. Alright. Now let's take a look at this question and the phrasal verbs. The first one, when you want to drop off something, it means that you take somebody to a place on the way to somewhere else. Okay, so for example, let's say your friend lives nearby to you. So on the way back from school, your parents can pick both of you up and drop off your friend before going back to your house. Drop by means you want to visit someone. Drop out means you stop doing something before you complete. While drop back means that you move away from something. Okay, our friend Pei Ba Yi has already answered option 2. Oh yes, the answer it will be correct. We are looking at how this auntie can visit your mother for coffee. Okay, yes, very good. You drop out of school. You drop out of a course also can, all right? Okay, moving on, let's take a look at question number 7. Every time I hear about my brave grandfather's struggle during the Japanese occupation, my friend, every time I hear about my brave grandfather's struggle during the Japanese occupation, I am in dash of him. So over here, we're looking at how you respect your brave grandfather's struggle. Okay, and it's something that you hold in very high regard. Now, first one, remembrance. Remembrance means you show respect for somebody who has died or for a past event. Honor means that you have high respect for someone in public. Okay? Praise means you have a admiration for somebody. Awe means that you respect somebody with fear and wonder. So for this question here, all the options have a certain degree of respect, but we see that the context is slightly different. For the first one, someone must have passed on or it must be an event. Yes, there is an event here, but grandfather is still talking to you. Alright, so it cannot be number 1. Now, if you want to respect somebody in public, but there isn't any element of public here. Third one, praise, and you admire somebody, it's possible, but you can see when we talk about struggle here, there is that bit of fear, because struggle means that it might be risky, it may be painful. Okay, so our answer would be 4 would be a better answer than 3. Okay, very good. Puyo Niao and Pei Ba Yi. Yeah, both your answers are correct. Okay, moving on, let's take a look at question 8. Sally did not want to dash with her neighbors, so she patiently explained to him that her dog had chewed his new shoes. Okay, so over here, we are looking at a few things. First is how she patiently explained something. Okay, and we also look at how this may affect the relationship with the neighbor. Okay. Now looking at all these what we call idioms. Okay. First one, burn bridges, means that you do something that cannot be easily undone. In the future. So for example, you talk to somebody very rudely. After that, then you expect the person to help you in the future. Okay, so that's very unlikely to happen, and because you are very rude to somebody, it's very difficult to make up for your wrongdoings. So we call that burn bridges. Next, break the ice. This means that you make somebody who have not met feel relaxed. So we are looking at some kind of icebreaker games, is to introduce people who are new to one another and you want them to feel at ease. Spill the beans here means you tell people a secret. While see eye to eye means you agree with each other. So you can see that Sally wants to maintain that kind of relationship with the neighbor, and you don't want to make things difficult in the future. As such, the answer would be number 1, when you do not intend to burn the bridges. Okay. Yeah, very good. Puyo Niao. Okay, looking at question 9 now. In addition to the heavy snowfall, a power failure along the streets made driving conditions dash on the road. So here we are interested in 2 things, heavy snowfall and power failure. So the snowfall would reduce your visibility, how far you can see. Next, you don't even have power, that means there are no street lights. Okay, so it means that it is very dangerous. Okay, very good. Chihiro, yeah, number 1 is correct for question 8. Okay, looking at question 9 now and the options. Treacherous means there's hidden and unpredictable dangers. Exhausting means very tired, very tiring. Misleading, this means that you give the wrong idea to somebody. And deceptive here means that you give the impression that is different from the true one. So there's a bit of lying here. Okay? So we are looking at how some condition on the road is dangerous. Okay, so the closest option that we have is number 1, treacherous. Because of this idea that you cannot preempt or foresee the kind of hazards that are present on the road. Now let's take a look at question 10 now. The small boat was tossed over in the sea as one huge wave after another crashed against the rocks in dash. So the key word that we have is here, one huge wave after another. That means we're looking at non-stop. One wave has hit the rock, second one comes, third one comes. It's like one after another in a sequential manner. So looking at the options, first one, addition means you add something to something else. Repetition means there's a recurrence to action. Succession means similar events one after another. While last one is a procession. This refers to some kind of people moving forward in a ceremony. Okay, I have one answer here from Puyo Niao, is answer 3. Yep, for this question here, we're looking at number 3 as the answer. Okay, good job. Now, some of you will be asking, then what's the difference between repetition and third one, succession? Okay, repetition means that the action or the event is happening again and again, but it doesn't, there is no element to show one after another. So if I say something is done in repetition, it can be my action is already completed. Then I wait 10 minutes, then I complete the next action. Wait another 20 minutes, then I do it the third time. So it is not, it doesn't convey the idea that once action 1 is done, action 2 takes place. Once action 2 is done, action 3 takes place. Okay? Because there is the absence of this idea, we will not consider it. Okay, we have come to the end of this part of our vocabulary. I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information first before we move on to our next section. Alright, if there are no further questions, let's move on. We'll be looking at our vocabulary close section now. So this is what will happen. I'll read through the text with you and we'll understand the underlined words. Once done, we will look at our options and choose the correct answer. Elizabeth Choi was the only woman known to be imprisoned by the Japanese during World War II. Born in Sabah, Elizabeth came to Singapore to further her education. Unfortunately, her mother's death in 1931 left her with the responsibility of raising 6 siblings. Responsibility here means that you have a duty to do something. To support their education, Elizabeth sacrificed hers and entered the workforce to earn a living. Sacrificed means that you give up something valuable for the sake of others. During the Japanese occupation, she secretly provided food, money and medicine to the British prisoners of war. Provided here means you make available for use. Or you can say that you supply the prisoners with all these elements, the resources. Once these acts were exposed, she was tortured by the Japanese soldiers. Expose here means you make something visible by uncovering it. And during the sufferings, Elizabeth was determined not to divulge the names of any of the people she had helped. After being starved for 200 days, Elizabeth was finally released from prison. Divulge here means you want to make known sensitive information. Okay, and with that, we have come to the end of this text. It's a pretty straightforward and easy to understand text. Okay, shall we look at the questions? We start with question 11 first. Responsibility means that you have the duty to do something. So looking at question 11, you can see there is immediately a direct synonym, which is number 1. Duty here means that you have that kind of legal obligation to do something. So if you don't fulfill this responsibility, you will be charged by the court. You can go to jail. Option means that something to be chosen. It's like we have 4 options here. So there are different words that we can choose from. Mission means an important job somebody is sent to do. So we usually look at this when we talk about soldiers fulfilling a mission. Opportunity means the time made possible to do something. So for example, we talk about an opportunity to learn English. So that means something is, the time is favorable to do something. Okay, looking at question 12. Sacrificed, which means that you give up something that's valuable for the sake of others. So looking at our options, the first one is gave in, which means that you agree to something after refusing initially. So for example, the mother gave in to the child's demand to buy a toy. That means at the start the mother say no, but maybe the child threw a tantrum, then she said yes. Okay, our friend Pei Ba Yi chose number 2, give up. Give up here means that you stop doing something before finishing it. Yes, for question 12 here, our answer will be number 2. Because in the text, it talks about how she did not finish her education. Okay, and because of that, we could see that in so doing, she gave up the valuable, something that is valuable. Okay, so good job, our friend. Now for our learning, let's take a look at the other 2 options. Gave back means that you return something somebody gave to you. Alright? And gave away means that you give something without asking for payment. So once again, we have a phrasal verb question here, and I hope everybody is aware of how to tackle such questions. Okay, so you can see that for phrasal verbs, it comes with a verb, an action word here, as well as a preposition at the back. And what happens is, you need to know when to look at the prepositions, because this is where the difference comes in. Your verbs are usually the same, but the preposition is different. And the preposition will tell you things like your direction and whether it's a source or things like that. And from there, you more or less can guess what the meaning of the word is. For example, you gave back. So we are moving in the opposite direction. And you can think of giving as from the giver to the receiver. So we should talk about backwards to the giver. That's a way that you can think about the meaning of the word. Okay? Now looking at question 13, we're looking at how she secretly provided food, which means that you make something available for certain groups of people. Now looking at our options. Number 1, when we talk about you grant something, it means that you agree to give something to somebody. Supply means that you provide something in need over a period of time. Furnished means that you provide a house or room with furniture. While presented means that you make something known. Okay, yes, very good, our friend Pei Ba Yi. Yep, okay, Prata say the answer is 1. Now you can see, back to our question first, we are looking at provided, which means you make some resources available for people. And you can see that these acts of providing things, that means it happened over some time. That's why there are few of these resupply missions, right? So in this case, the answer would be number 2, when you supply people with something because of this idea that is over a period of time. When you grant someone something, this is usually one-off. And there is also this idea that you agree, or in the sense that you can choose to say no sometimes and yes in other times. But in this case, Elizabeth Choi I wouldn't say that she said yes all the time, but I feel that there's this idea that she is on some kind of duty, some kind of mission. Because if you understand the story about Elizabeth Choi, there's the idea that she was very opposed to Japanese rule, and therefore it's not about whether she agreed, but she's doing everything she could to fight against the Japanese, even through this kind of simple acts. Now let's take a look at question 14 now. Exposed means you make something that is visible by uncovering. Alright? So looking at our options. The first one is noticed, which means that you observe or you pay attention to something. Observed means that you watch carefully and learn. Unraveled means that you investigate or solve something. While discovered means that you find something during a search. Okay, so you can see this is, okay, this one is slightly more challenging as what our friend Pei Pa He has talked about. Yep. Now if you see, the acts were exposed. Okay, so when we talk about the option 3 here, unraveled, there needs to be some sort of mystery or problem. There must be something that confuses people, then you can unravel the truth. In this case here, there isn't anything that is puzzling. It's just Elizabeth Choi secretly resupplying the soldiers with the resources they needed. Okay, so in this case here, our answer should be number 4, when it was discovered. Alright? Lastly, let's take a look at question 15, which talks about how she refused to divulge the names, which means the lady did not want to tell other people some secret information. So looking at our options, the first one is narrate. Narrate refers to a spoken account of something. Explain means that you want to make an idea clear to somebody. So this may entail giving people more details, describing something to people. Withhold means that you refuse to give desired information, while disclose is the act of making secret information known. Again, we observe that option 3 and 4 are very, very close. They refer to some sort of secret information being told to other people. Alright, but for this case, we need to look back at our question, because it talks about how she not, that means there's really a not in front, so we don't have to talk about the act of withholding or not telling people the information. We'll just present the idea of making information known, because the not here will negate the meaning. Okay, so as such, our answer would be number 4. You choose not to make the secret information known. Withhold has this idea that there is a refusal already. So if you put a not together with the refusal, it means that you tell people the info, which is not what the question is asking for. Okay? Alright. I'll just give everybody some time to take in the information before we move on. If you have any questions, do feel free to ask me. Alright, if there are no further questions, let's move on to our grammar close section now. Social distancing was the buzzword during COVID-19 outbreak 2 years ago. However, this did not dampen community spirit among Singaporeans. Dash providing free masks to cooking meals, Dash acts of kindness brought out the extraordinary qualities of Singaporeans. So over here, we are interested in various ways Singaporeans help one another. So we talk about free masks, cooking meals, and not forgetting there's this word here, tu. So hello, lady whistle down. So in this case here, when we talk about one thing, after that then there's this two and another, the first preposition that we need to use is from. Free mask to cooking meals. Now, Dash act of kindness brought out the extraordinary qualities of Singaporeans. You can talk about how their acts here, which is referring back to all these here. There are already two actions here. So we'll then talk about many acts of kindness. Alright. One such couple dash chicken rice stall owner, Mr. Daniel Tan, and his wife. So we are referring to this this uh this group of people. So one group of people. Alright. So we would say one such couple, not forgetting this is 2 years ago, past tense. So we'll say was. Okay. They decided to deliver free meals to healthcare workers as an encouragement of love. Mr. Tan and his wife started an online campaign called Cheer Up on their Facebook page. So over here, we are interested in two groups, two individuals, and they own this Facebook page. Plural. Okay, so it will be their Facebook page. Requesting funds to deliver packets of chicken rice from their Ang Mo Kio stall to hospital staff. The public response was overwhelming. The campaign went viral. So you can see the campaign is to spread online first. This is event number 1. Then people can be generous in donating. So to show that it is sequential, one event happened first followed by the other, we'll use the word after. Alright. To show their support for healthcare workers, many restaurants also whipped up either lunch dash dinner treats. So you can see when there's a either, there needs to be an or to show that there are two options. Okay. During dash times of difficulty, it was inspiring to be able to witness the community come together. So we are looking at just a particular period of time. So we will say during such times of difficulties. Yep, okay. Although the COVID situation brought the nation to a standstill, the young and old were able to dash the challenges and overcome the unexpected situation. So when you can see this is over here, this is a phrasal verb. So we're looking at how they are able to face the challenge. So we'll usually say they take on the challenge. Alright. Now I just give everyone some time to take in the information here before we move on to our next section. If there are no further questions, let's move on to our editing. I have a big family. A brother Scott, 2 sisters Kim and Shania, and our parents. Everybody in the family dash taken or is currently taking piano lessons. So you can see when we have the word, when there's something that starts with every or e, it needs to be followed by a singular verb. So it will be everyone has taken. Amongst all of us, Kim is the exceptional one. Okay, so let's spell exceptional correctly. This is spelled this way. She has no difficulties playing all the complicated notes. She practices frequently for at least 4 hours daily. So frequently is spelled this way. Spelling errors again. But I'll say these two, question 30 and question 31, they are quite straightforward. She always joins in when one of us is playing dash piano to give us encouragement. So you can see the piano has already been talked about earlier or throughout the whole text, that everyone's taking piano lessons. So when we talk about this same piano, the article that we will use is the, because it's very specific. It's the piano that is in the house of the author and Scott Kim Shania. Alright? Initially, Kim faced her own challenges. She injured her index finger in an accident, and she can only use 4 fingers on her right hand to play the piano. Therefore, she had to dash twice as much as the rest of us. So you can see when we have the word to here, it needs to be followed by the base form. So it will be to rehearse. Alright? I cannot imagine what it must have been like for her. Not only is it difficult to play the piano with only 4 fingers, but it is also dash not to be able to reach some of the keys on the piano easily. So we will say it is frustrating. Because we are looking at this idea that you are annoyed, and it is an ongoing process, that you feel angry and you feel like why you cannot do something. Despite these challenges, Kim displayed perseverance. Okay, so perseverance is spelled this way. She has never felt embarrassed or compared herself to us. Okay? So I will say that this text here is rather straightforward in terms of the words that they test you on is mostly spelling. Alright? I'll just leave this here for a bit for you to take in the information before we move on to our next section. Okay? Alright, if there are no further questions, let's move on. This is a comprehension close. An 18-year-old teen went on a hike and returned home as a hero. His quick action saved the hiker dash need. So you can see here that we are looking at somebody who has some kind of trouble, some kind of difficulty. So we'll say hiker in need. Okay, this is a preposition that they are asking us to fill up the blank with. Squaw Peak, a mountain in the United States, is only about 800 meters high. Dash its steep and slippery cliffs has resulted in countless injuries and even deaths. So you can see that there are two different pieces of information here. Firstly, they talk about how the peak is not really very high. Next, it talks about how the topography of the mountain, so how the mountain is like in appearance, makes it dangerous. So these two shows contrast. As such, we'll use a conjunction to link this information. Hence is for cause and effect, not contrast. We'll use however. Alright, let me just put it here. Hence is for cause effect. Okay, our friend Pei Bai. So Henry Grant was climbing the mountain, dash his mother. You can see the mother and the son is doing an activity together. They are complementary. As such, the preposition to use would be with. Yep, so you can see that Henry was 3 meters from the edge and waiting for his mother to catch dash with him. So you can see this is a phrasal verb again. And this phrasal verb conveys the idea that the mother was slower than Henry and they are waiting to be at the same pace. So we will say the mother is going to catch up with him. Okay. Now you can see that he heard a loud thump and a help. So he assured his mother he'll be safe. He trekked off the trail and lent a helping hand. He spotted a figure in the distance dressed in bright pink. So a woman was crumpled in a kneeling dash on a small rocky ground. She had fallen 22 meters. Okay, so you can see the kneeling here, in looking at a position. Kneeling is about how you sit on the ground. So that's why we will consider this as a position. Okay, so it's like how you present yourself. So Henry called for emergency service to report the incident. Unfortunately, the woman had landed in a dangerous spot. As she moved, she started to slip a little more, and she might tumble off the rocky surface. So you can see, landed. You can see there's this particular situation here. So when the woman moved, something else will happen. So we'll say when. All right. Because we are looking at how two events can occur. The movement of the lady will cause the rock to slip more. Securing himself against the tree, Henry gently held onto her hand. He tried to dash the woman's mind off the pain from her injuries by distracting her with questions. So you can see, you want to do something to the mind, and the idea is, this is your verb and your preposition is here. So this is a phrasal verb again. So we are looking at how you help me reset the live again? Suddenly it just like went off. I think that one can just continue. Just need to reset one. It's just like a bit. Yeah. Like one more, a few more questions for, what's this? Compre close.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks. And then the content disclosure, right?
Yeah, almost forgot.
Okay, thanks. You go live, then you'll be smaller again. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, thanks.
There's a few more questions only, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then really good.
Okay, thanks. Alright, apologies for the technical delays and technical difficulties that I've just encountered. Okay, let's finish going through this comprehension close now. Okay, so I was talking previously about this idea, this phrasal verb here. We're looking at how the lady was in pain and how Henry wanted to take her, ensure that she wasn't thinking about the pain and that she was being comforted. All right, so when we talk about how you're moving someone's mind away from the pain, we'll say you take someone's mind off. So these two words here highlight that you are trying to remove oneself from a situation. He kept doing this until he was joined by dash hiker Simon. So you can see the second hiker is Simon here, so we will say another hiker, because this person is the number 2 guy inside this text. Right, so this, I'll just leave everyone some time to take in the information before we move on to our next section. All right, let's move on to our synthesis and transformation. Davy will not recover from her illness. She needs to see a doctor. So you can see that we are looking at a certain criteria here. So we will say, unless Davy sees a doctor, she will not recover from her illness. Okay? Now let's look at question 46 now. The 40 bulb has been replaced by my brother. So you can see this is my verb, my action word. Brother here is the subject because he is engaging in this action. And the recipient of the action is the 40 bulb. So this is the object. So now we are changing this from a passive to active voice. As such, it will be my brother has replaced the 40 baht. We will tell very clearly that this is in the passive voice because of the word buy. Okay, so when you have a active voice here, the sentence should not have the word buy. Alright, lastly, let's take a look at, we still have question 47. My uncle was generous. He inspired me to help the less fortunate. So we are looking at an adjective and we are going to change it to a noun. So it will be my uncle's generosity. Generosity. Let me spell it again. Generosity. Okay. Yes, like that. Generosity inspired me to help the less fortunate. All right. Lastly, let's take a look at question 48. Other than Alan, all the boys enjoy playing basketball every Sunday. So you can see this is an outlier. So this guy doesn't like to play, but the rest are okay with this activity. So we'll say all the boys, comma, except Alan, enjoy playing basketball every Sunday. All right. Now, for this question here, I'll say it's very straightforward. And the only thing people would miss out is this. You need to ensure that it is in the correct tense. All here means that this will be in the plural form. Okay? I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information here. All right. If there are no further questions, then thank you so much for joining me this morning on our Writers at Work TikTok. Do join me later at 12 p.m. for our secondary school lessons. And if you'd like to learn more of our primary 5 and 6 lessons again, do log on at 2:30 p.m. I'll see everybody during this time period. Bye-bye.